Hello.
So, how's it going?
Good. Go ahead and share the notes here.
I'm promising to get those tests, by the way.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm promising to get those tests
Oh,
done, by the way.
hey. Yeah, I need to fix the testing harness. I think we'll look at it during this meeting here.
You're all good.
We'll
Hello,
get
guys.
started in just a few minutes.
Hey, Troy.
Hi.
Yeah, give it another 2 or 3 minutes. We definitely were expecting a few others, so we'll give them a few minutes. All right, we'll start in another minute. All right. My clock's showing 5 past the hour. We'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome everybody to meeting 80 of the OpenCost Community Meeting Series. Uh, we can go ahead and get started here with some quick community notes. We really only have one this week. Is that it would be nice to build a bot that posts meeting reminders to the OpenCost Community Meeting channel. The one in the CNCF Slack. Right now, I just do it 10 minutes before. I don't know, maybe like a day before, and then a couple hours before, something like that, to get more folks here or help people remember who intend to come, but just it falls off of their calendar. Um, so
Do you need
yeah,
someone to do that?
yeah. Hey, if you're
Yeah, throw it at me, mate. You know how it works.
yeah, yeah, and the real concern, right, is like, are we able to put automation on the CNCF Slack? Um,
We're about to find out.
yeah, okay. Um, cool. Does anyone have any other community notes, stuff like that to talk about? All right. Moving on to uh, code stuff. The first one is our OpenCost infrastructure subproject. Our gateway API is deployed. Thank you, Christian. No more Nginx. That's gone. Um, Hoping that in one of these coming weeks, Christian will show us around that installation, everything like that. No pressure, but another time. Our next thing that I'm trying to work on is to get open external costs displaying. OpenAI, we have very nice simulated load here that would be really fun to display so that people could see how the OpenCost plugins work and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so I'm working on it. I think the plugin regressed, so that's going to need a little bit of work. In terms of integration testing, yeah, we have our two tests open, network tests. Still need to simulate cross-regional network traffic with IP ranges, maybe by deploying separate iPerfs to like cost, fake cross-regional traffic and like do costing differences for different types of traffic. Um, we've reviewed this in discrepancies between Promise and Prometheus back tests. Work's looking into this. We will follow this just as a quick zip into here. I think though we have potentially more serious issues here, in that we are failing to even build a stack here. So I think that this is something that either Christian or I are going to have to look into because I think our credentials to Oracle Cloud expired, and we aren't able to create stacks. So we're sort of blocked on integration testing progress until we can get our cluster back that Oracle is sponsoring us with to run these tests on. Um, so yeah, just wanted to sort of call that out. Um, yeah, so yeah, we'll work on that. Um, on our AI sub project, right? So this is again, the idea is that we host an air-gapped LLM to like help. Yes, it can be an agentic chat experience for exploring cost, but like maybe eventually someday driving cost optimizations by itself. Again, our mentee in the fall wrote the Docker files and there's a local Llama model. We just need the CI/CD work to like publish the container and stuff. I've heard that a community contributor, Tushar, might be working on this, so we'll stay tuned for that. But it would be cool to get that shipped and then run that on our GPU cluster. Hi, work. Yeah, what's up?
Real quick on that one. Do we have any idea what model we want to use as our GAF model?
Um, yeah, I think that let's see what he picked for us. Docker file.
That's
So
Olama. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what it defaults to. So the
Mm,
default is Gwen 2.5
okay.
with
Um,
billion parameters.
is this under active use? Like, sorry, under active development, or are we?
No.
Okay, cool.
This was sort of Adesh's time ran out as we were working on this.
Okay.
Um, so this works. He bench top tested this, um, but yeah, that's it. What we wanted to do is put this on our cluster because we have a GPU node running there. Put this on the cluster and like crank this thing up and like see where we can
Mm-hmm.
get it. Um,
Okay.
and then the other extreme, like how good can we get just running on some cheap, no GPU? Like how much can we get out of 2 vCPU, for example, if anything?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's, opportunities, I guess. But the first thing is like publishing the darn image. Designed to run as a sidecar. Um, because a
Okay.
lot of people wouldn't want to install this potentially, but it's intended to run as a sidecar. I don't think he made Helm chart changes, but yeah, so that's what's going on there. Because again, I think there's a opportunity here to address the whole air gapped crowd or folks who don't pay for models and stuff like that, and make this accessible. Yeah. Moving on to the UI. Our new UI has been released in 1.120, so thanks, Christian, for that release. We can go check it out. Um, As you can see, it's a lot different than our legacy UI. We have dashboarding functionality where you can like create your own dashboards and build them out of widgets, right? So, uh, um, what Vishy's done here is this is being built by our current uh, open source mentee Vishy, and what he's done here is replicated the 3 pages that used to be the OpenCost UI, right? Um, and we did beef up the Prometheus instance backends, but the backend's still pretty slow. But we could see it's the same fundamental stuff that we had in the old UI, right? We still support drill down and stuff like that in the UI. Um, by namespace and then whatever the pre built thing was. And then, filtering and all that sort of good stuff. This is new, right? Assets functionality, right? So again, allocations are like your utilization. Assets are what are the capacity is. Uh, and yep, Sean, this is IBM Carbon, right, which is open source and everything like that. Their Carbon design system. So yeah, nice to be in that ecosystem. Uh, Assets are your capacity, and then he did a really nice little widget here, for all of our main asset types. Again, this is an API that we've had. It just never had a UI. So he's doing great work. Um, we're very excited about it. And finally, cloud costs, you know, again, just handling all these. So very excited about this. I'll demo what he's working on right now, closer to the end, but that's launched, right? We can still use the legacy UI. You just set legacy mode equals true. And I think we have a Helm switch for it. I forget, maybe not, but people can still use the old UI. But uh, I tell you, I'm getting pretty close to just marking that for deprecation and wiping that out in a few months. Um, what else? We revisited Dependabot PRs in light of this new UI. We had a bunch of stuck Dependabot stuff. Um, we got it down to one open Dependabot PR. A lot of them were obsoleted. And obviously, as part of this revamp, it got modernized a lot. Whoops, I thought that's the UI, OpenCost UI. There it is. So we're actually looking really great on open pull requests here. This one's in progress. We'll look at this one later. This overriding currency, I pinged this person about it. This may be obsolete as well, because I think that we can change the currency here. But the utility of it is I don't know if this is actually performing any currency conversion or if it's just like changing the unit or something like that. So we need to see if that's still relevant. And then this can probably be merged here or React debt bump. Looks like it's happy. Something went wrong. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. It renders the prior version. So maybe we'll keep that. We actually might just even close this. I don't like the fact that it's rendering the old UI. I think I might be stuck there. So, um, cool. So that's it. It's nice and cleaned out. Uh, this is a good call out from Work pointed this out. We need to update our videos to the new UI because they all use the old one still. So if anyone's looking for stuff to work on, that would be great for the users. Yeah, and that's
There's
UI. A
there's
lot of
an issue
movement.
there's an issue up for that one as well.
There is an issue. Great.
Yeah. So if anybody from the community feels
Let's
that way
link.
inclined,
Do you put it in the UI repo?
yep, under issues. Did
Uh,
I? Maybe I didn't. All right, I'll go looking for it.
All
I
right.
may have oversold that. Sorry about
All good. Great. Any other UI concerns, questions? A lot of movement here. And we will continue to invest in this. We're about halfway through our spring mentorship. So he's really rolling it. We'll take another look at it later.
that.
Cool.
Alex, I put that in the wrong. Um, it's in OpenCost root. Sorry.
Okay. Great. Um, if you want to link that in the chat, I'll stick it in the agenda here for posterity. We'll move on to the website itself. Thanks. Copy, paste. Oh, it's just not letting me edit. Yeah. I may be in a view only. All right. So for the website itself, so this is an interesting PR. I don't know if anyone's looked at it, but it's a guide for running OpenCost in multi-cluster contexts. Um, I have not validated this. Um, I don't know if anyone on the call uses Thanos, Cortex, or Mimir, but it you know we can ship this if we all feel good about it, deploy an OpenCost instance, cluster metrics or share backend, apply cluster filter, Prometheus compatible, cluster ID filter, variable, new extra environment variables, Thanos, cluster QA. I think it's okay. My vote would be we merge this and let people file issues on it if it's not working. Um, is anyone against that? Cool. All right, great. That'll publish to the website in a few minutes here. Um, Next one on the list, 48 is merged. All right, the next one on the list is cool. Um, this is the Cube Stellar uh, project, which is, a sort of an installer centralization repo for a bunch of different like open source stuff, which is great. Does it let us do OpenCost? Cost, maybe not. I'm sure I'm not using this properly. But it's basically it looks like some sort of centralization thing. Um, this person is an IBMer, so you know, we've looked at this. I think it's pretty good. Um, we can go look at this docs installation guided install. So we'll go preview the doc friendly documentation installation. Guided install with Kubestellar, visit the OpenCost install mission, which is at OpenCost. So it seems really cool. Um, and then like, I guess we'll potentially automate this for you even. I think this is great. Does anyone have any concerns here? Doesn't break the site clearly, anything like that. Um, Great. We'll merge this. Hub is slowing down. Um, all right, great. We will get that on the site. That's great. So that'll be up in a few minutes, I guess, once the CI runs. Awesome. I think that's most of their stuff. We have a few stock PRs. If anyone's looking for stuff to help out with. Again, these are just build things. This is like uh, some other JS library got split out. I'm sure this is needs to be bumped in tandem with other things. Linode, I don't know what we want to do about this. Um, I think, Sean, you have basically said that the Linode OpenCost stuff is not where it needs to be. And it feels like that stuff's been abandoned. Do we consider closing this because we don't really have an ETA on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for now, um, I get, sorry, what file is this changing?
So
Oh,
it's
it's a
adding
website. Okay.
Linode. It's adding support for the Linode cloud provider,
Okay. And this,
Linode.
I feel like last time I heard about that was years ago.
I mean, that sounds about right. August 14th, 2024.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Uh, yeah, I mean, if back then I said it wasn't like the provider wasn't there. I mean, and there's a future, maybe within a year where adding new providers is a bit more like just adding defaults and not having to understand the I guess arcane idiosyncrasies of the provider interface. But
so this would
yeah,
rot anyway whenever that stuff comes out.
yeah, this would rot. Um,
All right,
it
I'm
would
gonna
it would rot, and also it would be a lot easier to just add it back.
great.
uh,
Closed. Great. I think that's great. That's been open for 2 years, right? I mean, this one has been open for 2 years, and our next oldest one was 3 weeks old. So it was definitely an outlier here.
yeah, I mean, if the actual PR is that was closed, right? That's the closed icon,
Well, I
the
I
red
just
one.
I just closed this just now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
I mean,
thought,
we can go look at the upstream PRs. 2022. Yeah, the upstream was closed. Um, and it was closed due to inactivity. So create my own PR included. So no one's worked on it for more than a year. Yeah, I think this is all uh, abandoned.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other website thoughts, concerns, ideas? Cool. All right, we'll move on to OpenCost Core itself or OpenCost. Again, 1.20 is out of it on this one. Thanks again to Christian, who has done all our releasing. Um, I thought I'd hand the mic over to you, Sean, for a little bit to give cube model updates, and feel free to point me at a PR or anything you want me to like
Yeah, let me
find.
I got that in the chat there. That's the
Oh,
main feature
great.
branch PR. We've kind of finished the main coding thrust. Quite sizable.
Yeah, cool. 16,000 lines.
Yeah. Could you give me a review on that by tomorrow, Alex? Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, but yeah, so yeah, still so yeah, the kind of main coding thrust there is done. We've got about a month of time budgeted for testing on the work here and the corresponding work and on the Kubes cost side of things. My first project here is actually related to those comparison tests that appear to be broken. And we will be, adding in Kube model comparison tests there, um, and getting those comparison tests fixed, of course. Um, as part of that, we're going to add in an API for querying the Kube model.
Right.
I think high level here, just going to have a environment variable controlled pipeline for exporting this to either your bucket or your local storage, and we'll just query straight out of there. It'll be a pretty, this is not a query data model, so it's just going to be kind of more for pulling data. But we also have the pricing model stuff in there, which when combined with kube model, we can produce asset and allocations.
Wow.
So we will, I mean, we're kind of taking the first steps here towards some sort of persistence for this kind of data um, in OpenCost out of kind of necessity. So yeah.
That's amazing. I'd never seen this stuff before. That's great. So you are planning to you'll like at query time convert cube model plus pricing, join it to pricing data and create assets and allocations from it.
I don't know if in OpenCost it is the best idea. I mean, in OpenCost, maybe it could be at query time. Yeah, whether or not it's, like something that runs in the background and populates other, um, stored bin gen files
Okay.
is unclear to me right now. But we are still missing those pieces of the puzzle right now, and that isn't currently scheduled. But um, with these things in place, uh, that is a very realizable goal, right? You've got cost model data in a bucket. You got kube model data in the bucket. Um, we just need the Go version of the functions to make that transformation. And whether or not you run those functions at query time and reroute the existing APIs to there, or if you have some sort of pipeline that's triggered on um, kube model or pricing model data becoming available, um, then create the stores of asset and allocation data. So it's an open question.
Okay,
But
cool. What about
yeah,
GPUs? I see you deleted GPU. You deleted the device
yeah,
abstraction.
yeah. You want to? I mean, we can dive into that. I think I wanted to go to kind of talk with you about this a bit. We had that PR recently. Somebody was trying to add back in GPUs, devices. Um, the core of the issue here is that one, there's no such thing as a GPU in Kubernetes. It's just
Mhm.
not a real thing, right? Um, and even a step further than that, there's not really even such thing as a device. Um, you know, Obviously there's GPUs and they show up in the Kubernetes API,
Mhm.
but everything that is in the kube model as of now um, is a reflection of recordings that we are taking from the Kubernetes API, right? Um, and adding in these device and GPU abstractions, um, you know, at the time when we were creating all these objects, fields were kind of being thrown in willy nilly, right? Like
Mhm.
you're like, well, what do we want? That's great. Like, if you want those fields, that's great. But the deeper question is, where are you getting that data, right? You need to
Mhm.
answer that question. Um, and what we have for devices and GPUs is in the older paradigm is we have what are called device plugins, which
Mhm.
usually run as daemon sets on the cluster, um, with node selectors for maybe the nodes with GPUs on that particular cluster. Um, and what those daemon sets do is on those particular nodes, they advertise resources and resource capacity and resource allocatable. That is how GPUs show up on the node side of things, right? So that's something we can record, but like, why do we need a separate structure to record that? Like, we just record capacities and allocatable. The other side of things is the newer paradigm, which is the DRAs, which aren't implemented here, but those are structures that are, specifically queryable out of the Kubernetes API, right? We can just get everything related to DRAs. Like we can get the resource lists, all the templates. We can just query those directly. They'll have UIDs. They'll be their own objects, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, what it really comes down to is the device and GPU objects in the kube model are abstractions that kind of veer from the general structure of kube model. They kind of move from the realm of recording, which is what kube model is all about, and move more into the realm of interpretation. So rather than doing the interpretation in the kube model, we'll leave that up to the consumer. So the consumer of kube model can go to the nodes and they can look for the resource capacities labeled NVIDIA, and it can say, oh, there's a GPU here. But, uh, you know, forcing kube model to do that, um, forcing it to make that interpretation leaves us open to missing recordings, right? Let's say there's a different type of resource for some different type of GPU we don't know about from some device plugin. We didn't say it's a GPU, so it doesn't get processed into the GPU abstraction. And then anybody who wants to go back and look at historical data and find that, it's been erased. But if we just record the capacities, we can go back and update the, ingestion code and still deal with it. The other side of things there, and now we have veered out of the path of things that are available in the Kubernetes API, is that DCGM file that you're looking at right now.
Mhm.
This is another thing that we actually have, which is recordings from DCGM metric exporter, right?
Mhm.
We actually have that data. And we can make an abstraction here, kind of generalize this to like third-party exporter. But once again, like we know what this has, we don't know what anything else has. So rather than, kind of make these anemic abstractions for the model, just stick to the realm of recording the data that exists and interpreting it on the consumption side of things. So that's kind of what's going on there.
So the DCGM device represents a capacity.
The DCGM device, no, it represents a device that the DCGM exporter is reporting metrics about,
Okay.
which DCGM, to clear this up, the DCGM exporter is it's a piece of software that you run on a cluster running a NVIDIA GPU,
Right.
and it will give you metrics about a NVIDIA GPU.
Okay. And so then it's up to the pipeline to interpret this
Yeah.
as and convert it into a usage or capacity.
Yeah. Well, we our pipelines don't actually even do that, but you could if you wanted a device usage or a device capacity. If you want to build something like that.
And then you'd expect this map to be the map of the pod UID or container UID over to what it's using.
That one's actually device UID, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, in this, it's almost like a plugin, I guess. So it kind of exists, exists in the larger kube model set, but like in a way it is separate because it is this kind of, these are metrics we want to record, but they are metrics from a specific vendor that, may or may not exist in, um, any standard Kubernetes cluster, right?
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah, excited to play with this.
Yeah, take a look. Everybody take a look. Still working on a little bit of cleanup, adding some unit tests here. But yeah, yeah. Please take a look at it and make any comments you feel are necessary.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and again, that PR is in the chat if anyone wants to look at it in detail. But yeah, this is like, probably the next couple of years of how OpenCost is going to do its data. So yeah, definitely a big project here. Anything else, Sean?
That's about it for now.
Cool. All right, we'll hit a few PRs here. As a group, we'll get in as far as we can. This is something from Tushar here, who's a frequent collaborator. And again, this is, OpenCost has its MCP server, so it's changing it to be opt-in. I think that's fine. We were value exists, not exists, and now disabled by default. I think that's fine. And then changes the default to false. Tests, changing docs, opt-in, a lot of docs changes, looks comprehensive. I think this looks good. Does anyone have any concerns against disabling the MCP server by default? I'm just going to ask them if any Helm current change is needed. But that won't block this. We'll chuck this in the merge queue. Great. All right, next we have, this is actually a draft. We can just look at this. I don't think we'll merge it. Maybe we'll give it a review, and regardless, I'll leave a comment here asking them if they want to promote this. That's Snur Cloud. We've had a couple people ask for this. I guess it's growing in popularity. I think it's like a EU sovereign cloud or something like that. Hetzner Cloud. Here it's GDP. I guess yeah. It looks very European. I guess right. Their prices are in euros, so I think it's European cloud. Although they do have things in the US, but it looks like a lot in the EU. So we do have people asking for this. Where was this? We've got Hetzner Cloud here. Mr. Cloud does not offer GPU instances, return zero. I think that's probably the best practice, right? Not throw an error. Mr. Cloud provided fetch pricing, and are they dynamically fetching pricing? The key and the Kubernetes stuff. I mean, we'll obviously go over this in more detail. I just wanted to sort of get an idea. This is just a minor formatting thing. This be added to require bar flow. And then I'll just ask, is this ready to out of draft? All right, let's see how that, we'll give them a poke. See how that, let's note that poked. Our next one, 3731 by, oh, this guy, we're gonna have to reject this. Oh, Warwick's not even online. AWS spot price history, API caching layer. I think this looks good. Yeah, I mean, people have been filing issues on spot pricing. No, and caches no. I think logging initialization failures. I think that's a little pedantic. Bot feed refresh. So then this is wrapped in an if enabled. I think that's relatively safe. And then they refactor all this out. They get the AWS key. They blow up. If we don't have necessary config, create the configuration. And then, oh wow, that's spot price history cache, create config. I think this is okay. Spot pricing from history. They parse the instance type. Grab the instance size, get the spot price for the instance type in the AZ from the cache, return the price. Same thing here. They're checking network on spot price. Then a test looks good. I think this looks okay. Sean, do you have any concerns about this at all?
No, yeah. You sent me this the other day. Um,
You've glanced at this.
I've glanced at it, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Not really worried about it. I mean, trying
Yeah.
to sidestep a lot of the provider stuff here with the pricing model stuff.
Right.
To get this stuff back to working, after that um, happens, we will need to kind of re-implement spot pricing as like a
Will
pricing
spot pricing
pricing
be
source.
covered in like getting the cur or BigQuery or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about OpenCost,
Yeah.
um, you know, pricing is a lot more important, right? Because the closer you can get with your estimate, um, the closer you are to your actual costs.
Mhm.
Um, in the domain of you know costs, which group cost is that's what group cost deals with. Post the 2-day limit. Um, the reconciliation numbers are just overriding all these, and you're getting exact cost.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's important to users who want these features, like we can add in additional pricing sources to
Right.
get specific things like spot pricing from GCP more accurate. Like we can look at any sort of source and try and turn that into pricing, which we can then match up to usage data. And uh, once again, we're back to talking about creating creating allocations and assets from kube model data, which we can't do at all yet, but in the OpenCost domain.
I'm just gonna close. This is a very old issue. I'm just gonna say it's closed by that. Hopefully that will encourage that individual to test it and they can reopen it. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you looked over it. Thank you. Yeah, and definitely like interested in learning more about the providers revamps you've got in mind, Sean. Perhaps another day.
Yeah, we can definitely dig into it.
All right, this individual automation standalone Python example. Okay, I think that's great. I think we should have this moved to the docs, frankly. Like, is anyone like, yeah, we should merge this Python code right now? Like, it's got a nice markdown. I don't know. I would consider pitching this individual on contributing to the docs. All right. We'll see what their reaction to that is. Great. All right. We made it through all of the PRs I had queued up for us. Amazing. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns on OpenCost? OpenCost? Great. Let's look at the Helm chart. This is something we have been trying to merge. We had asked them to pull this out into a template function. And we've pinged them multiple times. I'm debating closing this as abandoned. Let's do plugins to download plugin list. Do we have any reactions from people that are excited about it? Problem. Well, okay. I guess you know what? That's fair enough. I'll adopt this. You know what? Whoops. I will adopt this. And I'm just going to set a reminder for myself here because I think it's good. Perhaps this individual just got too busy. All right. Helm value schema from Hunter. I don't think there's any movement in here, but this is just adding a schema right to our Helm values. All right, discussions of this issue, right? The UI path is closed. Oh, all right. We had already hit this last time. I did talk to a Sean, who is, our Helm chart maintainer, and he submitted this one issue for us to talk about. OpenShift degradation warning. There's some back and forth here, trying to find a workaround here. OpenShift implemented this workaround. Maybe we'll ping them. Because this seems to have a very good understanding of that. Maybe they'll help us. All right, and then just a call to action. If anyone wants to make a contribution here and learn about supply chain security stuff, which is, hotter than ever, we'd love to do stuff like chart signing, container image signing, all these security best practices. Help wanted. It'd be a fun little project, especially a good, first project or anything like that. It's very atomic, and you don't need to be a Go expert or know what really is going on with any of this stuff. Plugins. Vishy's pinged me about the snowflakes. Vishy, if you're watching this sometime on YouTube, I'm sorry. We'll get to it. He's got a nice snowflake plugin for OpenCost to begin to visualize external cluster data. We just need to get to it, right? These are hard to test because you need to go and create an account on all these things. And then the other ones, GitHub plugin, this is Menos here, and then um, this MongoDB had currency conversion, which I'm actually inclined to merge because they refactored all of this out. So I think we're going to let this in. We'll merge this because the currency conversion stuff is pretty good here. All right. Cool. And just one fun thing I wanted to end on is like a preview of what Vishy, our mentee, is working on here. So what we're working on next is, rather than the first thing you see when you visit the UI being a bunch of dashboards, is an actual like homepage, right? So this is the same for everybody, and it's basically like a summary of different costs and stuff, line chart, bar chart and all this. And all sorts of fun stuff. But then, like, we can go back to the dashboard. He's refactored the dashboarding page a little bit. The same dashboard we looked at, right, in the beginning. It's just a little bit organized a little bit differently, which is great. And then like a reporting functionality, right? And I think this is super interesting. I'm going to play with this a lot tomorrow, but like you can start to like build different filters here, right? And add filter groups and all sorts of neat stuff. So, we'll see. Does that work? Add filter group. Yeah, it'd be nice if we had an autocomplete. Maybe that'll be some feedback for them. But so yeah, I just wanted to end on this. This is sort of the current state of our, you know, mentorship. We appreciate everything that Vishy is doing for us. If anyone has any ideas, stuff they'd love to see in a UI, let us know. We're going to push just to sort of set a high level roadmap here for this. Maybe again, and folks can jump in here, but we've switched to using issues for him. Reporting feature, he's delivering here, frankly. Side nav, he's delivered. We just looked at homepage, he's delivered. We'd love to like begin to explore authn and authz for OpenCost, right? So that you can have different teams. Vishy had this interesting idea, like there's this whole open FGA project that's like we can outsource authn and authz, which I think is very, very, very interesting, right? Because this stuff's hard to build and it's very, bugs have serious implications. So if anyone has heard of this or wants to play around with it, we're all ears. That brings us to the end of our agenda today. Does anyone have any thoughts or last comments here? Cool. Well, thanks everybody for the time. We'll get a few minutes back at the end here. Next meeting in 2 weeks is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern for our EMEA time, and then we'll meet at this time in a month from now, 4 weeks. So yeah, thanks, and yeah, we'll chat at this time in a month.
Thanks, Alex.
See you.